The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
All right, welcome back to Kurre and Klapow Show. You can hear us every single Thursday, also wherever you get your podcast, Tony Kurre Radio Podcast. By the way, our podcast network is doing great. We've got Mark Ingram with UAB Blazers, and we talk more than just UAB Blazers stuff. They got a big basketball game tonight against the top 20 team down at Bartow Arena. I will be there with my son. I'm going to get in there and check him out.
Who's playing?
FIU.
Oh, yeah. College Charleston lost, by the way, and now they're down to 22.
That's what happens when you play that schedule. You lose one game, you're...
Well, yeah, because they were playing Hofstra.
So you got a top 20 matchup tonight
Cool.
with the UAB Blazers, and of course I'm hoping Jelly comes back and plays tonight because they need him big time, so we'll see what happens. We'll be talking to Mark Ingram for the UAB Director's Chair, one of about 13 or 14 shows we do need to know. The Kiefer and Curry show is going to be starting here in a couple weeks after one of that ends. After the Super Bowl, we have Mission Minded Livewire Wednesday last night was fantastic. It's an all AC/DC show that I host every single week, brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828. Students of the Game is taking off. 3 college kids talking sports. We got that game. Win in Rome with Stuart Rome was a fantastic show. It's got musical elements. We have the Austin Hanks show, Blues Almighty. He plays with Billy F. Gibbons. We have the Damon Johnson show. I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Great shows. Check out Dark Side of the Pooch.
Yes,
One of my favorite shows I co-host with Dr. Rab Stewart from the Rossbridge Animal Hospital. Is fantastic, so we'll get into that. You can check out our Kurre and Klapow podcast. We'll have 4 of them coming from this particular show today. So go to @TonyKurre Radio on Twitter and answer my poll question: who's made a bigger impact? Period. Dr. Phil, Ozzie, or Tom Brady? I'd go with Ozzie just because he's had a bigger impact not only in my life, but I think he's had a bigger impact on the world.
I think that, yes, I agree.
So you're thinking about hanging it up. You're thinking about retiring. So a lot of people that retire, I remember Bobby Bowden being in our studio, and a lot of people are like, dude, it's time to hang it up. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want to hang it up because he was afraid it was going to kill him. Mm-hmm. He was like, Bear Bryant hung it up, he was dead 3 months later. When you really love what you do, and you truly love it, and you're giving up something you have a love affair with, like Ozzy Osbourne said, you're giving up something that you truly love. And if you're not very good at it anymore, then you need to figure out a way maybe to hang up that a portion or an aspect of what you're doing.
Look at you, you're already being
but then still working it, right?
Look at you.
A lot of people are saying maybe Tom could be a minority owner in the National League or something like that, so he could stay in the mix.
Michael Jordan.
And Bobby Bowden did that. He was some type of consultant.
Michael Jordan tried that.
Kobe Bryant to an extent.
Kobe, I mean...
Derek Jeter's partial owner. Yes, you got to figure out a way to continue to be around the things that you love. That's why you see, you always see it. I had a good friend of mine, Dr. James Anderson, who was a dentist. Loved being a dentist and had put in his work, was fantastic. He retires. I start seeing him at all these, like, Greystone, like the Regions Charity Classics, doing all this volunteer work. And I'm like, hey, you enjoy? He's like, wife kicked me out of the house again, told me to get the hell out of here. I'm driving her crazy. And then he opened up another practice. Not a dental practice, but something along with dental hygiene and teeth whitening and stuff. He's like, because it's just what he does, and it makes him happy, and I get that. So 4 questions, if you're thinking about hanging up. First question, do you want to hang it up?
Did you make these up? Or did you find
I did.
Look at you.
I wrote them down. Do you want to hang it up?
I believe you.
Do you have to hang it up because of a lack of skill, and you're just not the top of your possession?
Love this.
Can you hang it up?
You should be in my sessions with my clients. Yes, that's a whole...
Can you hang it up? And I'm talking can emotionally and can financially.
Yes.
A lot of people are in business, and they're like, this is how I live, and if I hang it up, am I going to have enough money to continue living?
Right,
Can I hang it
right.
up? And finally, have you been forced to hang it up?
Oh, God.
You like that?
Those are you should approach, like, Bustle or... Actually, ARP or something.
So let's go one by one.
Questions.
Do you want to hang it up? Most people that are in something for a long period of time usually don't want to hang it up. They feel like maybe grandkids. I want to spend more time.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
and I think that's the most important question. Do you really want to stop doing this, or is there a way that somehow you can stay?
I think that's the thing. I think there's very often either competing interests now. I love my job, but there's all these other things that I love, and I've put in a lot of time in my whatever I've been doing, and so the want is a loaded question. I don't want to leave, or I don't want to stop, but I also want to spend more time with my family, and I recognize this is something I see in my clients. The first move when do you want to? Mm-hmm. Particularly if there's other things. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to be more involved in things more than work.
And before you go any further, think about other things in your life, because this is much bigger than just jobs.
Well,
let's say you're going through a rough time in your marriage. Okay, right. Continue. Because
what I was
really makes you, do you want to hang up? Do you want to stop doing this?
Well, what they try to do, what people try to do is they then try to do it all. Mm-hmm. I'm going to save my marriage, or I'm going to be in my job, and I'm going to spend my time with my family, and I'm going to volunteer, and that doesn't work. Yeah. It never works. But it's always the first move, because you don't want to risk giving something up because you don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So you hang on to it, and you have, 1 foot in this and 1 foot in something else. And so often it doesn't work because you can't dedicate enough of you. The whole work-life balance stuff mm-hmm. is all bullshit. Yeah. You can't do it all. So marriage, job, whatever, you have to make the decision, do I want to, based on my entire life.
Do you have to hang it up? I think this is a really interesting question, because obviously you're not very good at it anymore. Maybe it's because of your skill set, maybe it's because of your age, maybe you had something happen. In this particular case, what I was talking about, a dentist,
your hands are not working. Yep, tremor. Yep.
He had to hang it up. Do you have to hang it up? That's easier, because if you have to hang it up, you have to hang it up. If you're asking the question, do I have to hang it up? You probably do.
Well, that's it. And if you think about job and relationship, and job can be sports or whatever, the have to, if it's a definitive have to, I mean, you're fired.
You can't hit the high notes.
You can't do, you literally can't. God, these are really interesting, because it is rare, with the exception of, let's just say, being fired, or being injured and you physically can't. It's usually not a clear I have to.
Yeah.
It's more of the writing's on the wall, and am I willing to own up to, I have to do it right.
Now, I'm going to skip the can you, because I think having been forced to hang it up is a different. You're not carrying your load here. We're letting you go. Mm-hmm. You're being forced out. Mm-hmm. I see that probably more than any of these other ones, just because, and normally that's where I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start my own thing. Or she's packing your bags and saying, get out. You're being forced to hang up whatever it is that you're trying to say.
Or, it's interesting there, because sometimes you're being forced, but it's not clearly communicated.
That would have been Tom Brady if he stayed retired last year.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if she said, if you unretire, I'm leaving you.
Right.
And maybe that's why he unretired, because let's think about this. Maybe he knew the divorce was imminent. It was going to happen. And so he's like, so why in the hell am I giving up something I love?
Right.
And I'm not saying he stayed in it in spite of her.
No.
But he's like, I need something that I love, and I love football.
And then he woke up and he realized, and then he woke up after the divorce and realized,
I'm not losing my job and my wife, so I'm going to do something at least I can control.
Yeah, and now he woke up and went, it's not the job.
Well, it took him some time to process that.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing I see in business, though, a lot is your business is a little different. They come in and they go, we're letting you go. Yeah. Or your contract is expired. What I see a lot is people being forced out by making their job very undesirable. Mm-hmm. Or the classic, we've reclassified your job and it's now only worth this. We're not firing you.
Yeah.
We're not letting you go. We're just going to make it even worse than it was so that you decide to go.
Yeah.
Or that we want you to decide to go. I'm laughing because marriages all the time. Nobody says, I want a divorce.
Yeah.
What do? They distance themselves. They spend less time.
They get passive.
They get passive. They go and cheat.
Yep.
right? Because nobody says you're hanging it up or we're hanging it up. You know why? Because that takes too much courage.
Yeah.
How many businesses will not do it? Oh, we don't want to fire them. We can't. Let's reclassify them.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask. I don't want to say we're going to get a divorce. I'm just going to pull back and I'm just going to live my own life.
Yeah. And then finally, can you hang it up? Can you hang it? When I first thought of this question, can you financially? Tom Brady's.
Yes.
Even if he didn't have a $375 million with Fox, he'd be fine. But in a lot of cases, can you?
That's where it's a super.
And can you emotionally? Can you live your life without this thing that you love so much?
Right. So again, I think work and relationships there are exactly the same. Can you hang it up? So on the work side, maybe I don't. Financially, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. And the reason you even saw me hesitate
most
is
of us can't.
Most of us can't, or it's risky too. Because, this is America. You can hang it up and find a job and start your own business, all that stuff. But I think a lot of us, we're in a job, we don't want to be there, but it's making us enough money that we start doing sort of the mental gymnastics. Mm-hmm. I can't really do it. It's too risky for me. It's so funny. I tell young executives, entrepreneurs all the time who are like in their 30s, they don't have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may or may not be married. I'm like, go for it. Because each life milestone makes it harder and harder, right? I got kids. I'm in a relationship. I got a mortgage on my house. So the can't hang it up is, there's definitely the part of where it's financial, but even then I think you can take risks and you could hang it up.
Yeah.
On the relationship side, that's also interesting. I can't hang it up. I can't stop. We've been together for so long. I made promises. It's against my faith. Mm-hmm. I don't want to quit now. And even though you say all those things...
You see people in abusive relationships that ask that question.
Exactly.
At least I know what to expect. It's super uncomfortable. I don't like being in this relationship. At least I know what I can expect every day. And they're uncomfortable with the prospect of having to make that change.
To the point of being miserable. And I see that with people who are...
Get out of the relationship. What are you doing? They're like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like all right, dog bark, and that means it's time to take a short break. I want to get into...
Did you train the dog?
I didn't. Amazing. That's good boy.
What, about every 15 minutes?
Good boy, Rainer. There's that damn cat outside the house. Happy Groundhog Day. I did see a shadow, 6 more weeks of winter, which means we have sunshine and 60 on Saturday. Congratulations. All right, I want to talk about LeBron James. We'll have some fun. It looks like, based on his average right now, he's going to be breaking the record in Oklahoma City. I want to talk about how important is this? How big is this? We'll talk about it coming up next year on the Kurre and Klapow Show. We'll be on Fox 6. Bottom of the 9 o'clock hour at 9:35, 9:40, talking about what we just talked about. Can you hang it up? Yeah, let's do it. We'll be back in a minute.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.